This video is viewer-sponsored to bring attention to the wonderful services of the AIDS Ministries. Captain J. Tompkins, G-Team. The blank body. Codename CKDA. Human name Nicholas Dawkins. Obtained in Khost, Afghanistan. Captured by Gamma Team. Repeated reports of a shade had come in from Khost over the past few weeks. Intel suggests a powerful blank body that seems to have a taste for other blank bodies. Near entire population of leeches exterminated. Steady stream of others, mostly of the Shadow Weaver strain, mindlessly entering the city by night. Most of them seem to be a part of the Sabbath, or whatever the hell the heretic blank bodies call themselves. Codename CKDA was found within a blown-out hospital, keeping abandoned patients alive, presumably for food. Damn bloodsucker was once a U.S. Army medic, now using his training to stockpile his own sustenance. Sick bastard. His greed for blood was so strong that he actually surrendered so that none of his stash would get shot up. Holding report. Filled out by Dr. C. Whitmore. Blank Body N. Dawkins, CKDA, has been a model prisoner. Other than we fear that we will only have him for a few days, maybe a week tops. The monster refuses the bagged blood we've been offering. Other than that, he seems willing to talk, though his temper rises with each night he doesn't nourish himself. No matter. Sergeant First Class E7 Dawkins will prove useful. He's been volunteered for the Cicada program. As soon as he falls into stasis, he will be flushed with a modified strain of the Maspora cicania. Next, all we need are the orders on where we will be inserting him. His release will be planned for a location with a large blank body presence. For personal records, Maspora cicada is a fungal pathogen that infects only 13 and 17-year periodical cicadas. Infection results in a plug of spores that results the end of the cicada's abdomen, while it is still alive, leading to infertility, disease transmission, and eventual death of the cicada. Modification details and application of said pathogen. The modified pathogen is created through cross-contamination with found materials in the Nosferat's wallow. Nosferats, or sludge lads, are the subterranean strain of blank body existence. Samples extracted from various wallows, as we are calling them, show similar results and chemical makeup. Exposed test subjects all seem to bond with blank body physiology with ease. Flora, fauna, and fungal organisms grow to unnatural sizes, and substances that have no reaction to blank bodies gain reactions. Using this substance that we have dubbed NWSO3 to bind the Maspora cicania may cause the fungus to bind with the blank body chemical makeup. Subject CKDA may be our best bet at introducing this to the blank body population. Something in his blood seems to attract others of his kind. Orally introducing Maspora cicania into the population could not only infect the entire species, but also lead to their final destruction. In God's name. The CERT team received subject Cicada in Portland last night. We're not really sure what the hell to do with some frozen blank, but I'm told that I have to at least record the waking procedure, as it is called, with the use of the material MK17. While subject is within the stasis chamber, attach MK17 bags to feeding dispenser. Type in CKDA MK17 into keypad. Subject should regain consciousness within 15 minutes. Longer in host, if damaged. Whatever the hell that means. MK17 blood samples acquired from Operation Antigen during the purification of London, England. Samples are from a stockpile taken from an ancient blank body that once claimed to be the Persian god Mithras. This is the 17th ancient we've taken samples from. Methuselah Kindred 17, MK17. Inside blank body assistance from Operation Antigen. That just pisses me off. I understand that this needs to be off the record, and I will 100% agree with off the record on this one. But seriously, we're using blank bodies as assistance. I don't care what these so-called lamp lighters are. This is just messed up. We don't work with the enemy. Anyway, inside blank body assistance from Operation Antigen, Victor Loretta, calling himself of a Ventru strain of the 8th generation, embraced in 1885. He was a former Society of St. Leopold member. Jesus Christ. Alice Mockingdale, wizard strain, noted Tremere, of 10th generation, embraced in 1867. Thomas Smith, of the Nosferatu, I always heard them called Nosferats, sludge lad of the 12th generation, embraced in 1918. Tony Castielli, of the Bruja? Isn't that witch in Spanish? Thought this guy was captured in London. Whatever. 10th generation, embraced in 1940. Lady Catherine Montague. This one actually has a fucking title. Lady Catherine Montague, another Ventru, 11th generation, embraced 1854. Dr. Henry Banerjee, Hecata, of the 11th generation, embraced in 1911. Ugh. Whatever. This is a waste of time. We're never going to use this thing. We're going to put it in storage, and that's it. Greetings, Kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to our World of Darkness with a very special video on a character that I made for my game. I don't typically do this because I don't know how much interest is out there. Perhaps if you guys do have interest in this, I'll do this for more of my characters. Today we'll be talking about Project Cicada, also known as Sergeant First Class Nicholas Dawkins. Now, I'm doing this for a couple different reasons. One, I am doing this to bring into light the idea of how dangerous it is to walk around not knowing fully what's going on with you, and how many risks Nick had to take to get to where he was. And the reason I'm doing that is because this video is brought to you today thanks to an employee who works for the AIDS Ministries. This video is specifically being made because we want to bring more awareness to the fact that the AIDS Ministries is giving away at no cost to you free AIDS tests, free HIV tests, and they send them to your house. You perform it right there. You don't have to mail it off. Nobody else gets your results. It goes directly to you. And even if you do not want to run around and tell everybody what your status is with that, it's good that you yourself knows. So, that being said, I am putting this up, bling, to let you all have the ability to contact them and to get your free test. Please. It's free. There are over 1,500 people on this channel, which means the AIDS Ministry should be receiving 1,500 requests for tests. That's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, but the idea of being affected by something in your blood that you don't know about. And that's what Nick is all about. Not how he got infected, because that really does not matter. The fact that he is and what his precautions are about going around to fix said thing, if possible. Nick was originally found in the Black Sheep Chronicle by the Cicada when they entered the CERT base, which is hilarious because I actually had him set and waiting all the way back during the first attack from the hunters. And it took until that to get to there. And then he finally started coming in and interacting with the anarch population of the city. And he's just... I love this character. I really do. He's very human. He pops up in places. They find him just giving food out to the homeless. He's a genuinely good person, which I understand is the stereotype of Salubri. Because everybody knows at this point that he's a Salubri. But in character, a lot of people still don't fully grasp that. But I guess we can just talk about what he's actually infected with. I have basically sensationalized a real-world pathogen that affects cicadas. The pathogen that he's infected with is a fungus that causes cicadas to get these little waxy protrusions on their abdomen, which makes them unable to breed, but makes them incredibly easy to spread the disease itself. And what it does is it causes them to become infertile, which eventually, if the entire populations of 13 and 17 year hibernating cicadas become infected with this stuff, they're going to die out. That's what this stuff does. It eventually will just kill off the cicadas. The idea for the cicada virus that I've created in this game is that it's the same fungal pathogen that the cicadas are suffering from, mixed with the blood pools of the Nosferatu. I haven't seen anything in 5th edition for this yet, but in older editions, in their wallows, in their underground sanctums, the Nosferatu were said to create what are called spawning pools, which is every Nosferatu in the wallow adds blood to this pool, effectively creating a giant Vuldery dish, so that anything that drinks from it becomes ghouled, but also mutates. Rats become larger, bugs become larger and more vicious, fungus grows out of control. And that was actually the entire idea, is that the idea that they are ghouling the cicada pathogen so that it can then be attached to Kindred. I do not believe that the Kindred themselves will end up dying from being infected by this. That's not actually the idea behind this, but what it does is it causes them to become infertile. The Kindred are unable to embrace, and if anything feeds from them, they become infected with the virus as well. Nicholas Dawkins was chosen for Project Cicada because he was the first thing that Project First Light, our hunters, our Inquisition members, ever got a hold of that was a Salubri. And the Salubri have that horrible, horrible bane of being delicious. And if his blood is out there and the scent is just traveling through the air, other vampires are going to want to drink him. If other vampires drink him, they become infertile, and eventually they get it. Any vampire that feeds from them through blood bonding or anything else ends up getting infected, and so on and so on and so on, to the point where every kindred in the world will just eventually be infertile, and there will be a finite number of vampires in the world. That's the whole point of Project Cicada, is to eventually make it so that these vampires just can't breed anymore. That's it. It's actually a horrifying plotline. I've never really wanted to sit down and explain my plot lines to anybody before, but it's the concept of not knowing what you're infected with that really made me think that this was the perfect thing to bring about AIDS and HIV awareness. Because even if you are not going to seek treatment or find some type of physical therapy or help or anything in this process, knowing is always important. And this will be the last time I mention, but the AIDS Ministries are giving out these tests for free. I did one on camera, and it was incredibly easy. Within a very short amount of time, I knew exactly whether or not I had it. And that was it, and that's all that they're offering, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So thank you to the AIDS Ministries for helping to put out this video. I hope that we can do more of these. I love them. I love the idea of getting that out there for people so they know. And now I guess we'll talk about the other reason I'm doing this video. The other reason I'm doing this video is because I was approached through messaging by a community member, but he said, "Hello, Voivode. Happy Juneteenth." Well, happy Juneteenth to you too. That's very cool that people are saying that. Love your content. Been binging a bit of it lately on my computer. Haha. With that said, I wanted to know your opinion on the Salubri's banes for the player's handbook. Some posts I've read call it 4 banes and a character killer. Would you agree on this? And if so, what would you do to change that while still keeping the soul of the clan, pun intended? I went ahead and answered. I said that Salubri have always been hard mode. They really always have. And they've gotten harder in V5. That is not an exaggeration whatsoever. They've also gotten, I think, easier to play, in my opinion, at the same time. The bleeding from the eye thing when they use their powers, I think it really needs to be explained better. Personally, in my games, I make it so that their eye bleeds like that when they use their special amalgams for healing. The book doesn't say that. The book says that when they use any disciplines, which makes me think, like, if somebody walks up to a Salubri and just hauls off and hits them as hard as they can, and their fortitude kicks in, does that mean that their forehead just starts bleeding at that point? Like, why? Like, I really just think that it could have been worded better. In my game, again, specifically, it's those healing powers that resemble the Obey and the Valoran that we know from the past. That is when the eyes bleed. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I've used it in my games already. Nicholas has healed people in the game. And I think the biggest part is, yes, you could play off a comedy version of, oh, look at him just like bursting from the head. But it really should be like, if he's using a low level, it should just be like a small tear well up, or maybe a little bit more for higher levels. It really shouldn't be just like buckets of blood pouring out of the forehead comically. I think the hardest part is, once he uses his powers, any vampires in the room have to throw a frenzy check to see if they're going to just go after him. As it is, I give him an unsettling situation where like vampires around him are just like, ooh, he smells better than most. And it's I don't know, it's just the way that I handle it. As for the replacement, where their powers stop working the more blood they have in their system, I think that's great as a clan specific flaw, but I really wouldn't say that's good for as a bane. And again, I mean that's the kind of thing that you could say that your powers work better, all of your powers, not just your healing powers. But again, I just if they had clan books and they had clan specific flaws like they used to in the old systems, that sounds like that to me. I wouldn't really count that as a bane. Now, Devin went on a little bit further to talk. He says that he apologizes, that he thinks he might have mistyped what he meant. So that he meant was Salubri now have a 1 visible third eye, which is absolutely true. They do have a visible third eye. It should be easy to hide when they're not utilizing those healing powers. A hat with a low brim, a bandana, a do-rag, a rather shaggy haircut, something like that should make the eye a little bit harder to see. If anything, I mean, you got to think of what your eye actually looks like. You really can't disguise that as a scar. But it is something like a hoodie and a shaggy haircut could possibly handle. It weeps when they use their powers. Again, I personally say that it weeps only when they use their healing gifts, not all of their powers. And yes, that sucks. Not even going to say that. Their vitae is hard to stop drinking. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. They have addictive vitae. I think that actually works really well for the older systems, because in the older systems, like in the old Laws of the Night and in like the Faith and Fire Dark Age system of the game, the Salubri got 2 free points in generation. Because there used to be clan disadvantages and clan advantages. Instead of just a bane, there were boons, I guess you could say, for your clans. And the thing that the Salubri got was 2 free points in generation. And who the hell, if your game says, yeah, you start at 13th gen, and you're allowed to buy up to 10, who the hell isn't going to put those free points in generation after buying 3 points in generation? You're an 8th generation vampire. You come in as an elder, therefore your blood is tastier than most. This seems to be more of like a pure breed kind of thing. Like they haven't embraced far and wide, therefore their blood is a little bit more concentrated and seems to be a little bit more delicious because of this. It also says 4. When they bleed, they risk for 4 plus hunger kindred. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely true. It sucks. Like, the Salubri sucks. The Salubri are for playing hard mode. That is 100% true. Does it seem like overkill? Yeah, it does. It does seem like overkill. Would I change it? Not at freaking all. I really, really don't. Personally, I have some my own personal outlooks on how the Salubri fit into a V5 setting, and we might actually get to that point in my game. If you guys are interested in knowing more what I think about the Salubri in V5 and where I think they might be going, please let me know, and maybe I'll do a video on my predictions of Clan Salubri. Who the hell knows? But as for pretty much just like thinking about how the clan is, I think involving the plotline that I'm running, the clan is the perfect bait for anything where it comes to a blood pathogen. If Project First Light or the Inquisition or any other of the hunter organizations got together and realized that, oh god, other vampires can't stop drinking these vampires, they're the perfect targets. And that's what I took advantage of. I hope this was entertaining for you guys at all. I would love to sit here and talk about my SPCs because I really love my SPCs. I put a lot of work into them. Nicholas himself is actually an SPC that I've been working on for 22 years at this point in time. And I think this is the most he's ever had in the spotlight in any of my games. I don't want to overflow the game with Salubri energy, because they should be rare. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. But with the upcoming Season 4 of Thicker Than Water, we very well might have Nicholas end up showing back up. That's the only spoiler I'm going to give you for Thicker Than Water, is that during the attack, when Valentino Pisanob was attacked by the BSDs in his funeral home with Nick by his side, Nick, in fact, did escape, and perhaps we'll be able to hear that PTSD story sometime in the future. I am Voivode Maquette. This is our World of Darkness, and this was a closer look into my World of Darkness, as well as, again, getting the word out there that the AIDS Ministries is giving out these amazing, free, at-home tests. And I very much hope that you all take advantage of it. Thank you very much. I love you all. Have a good evening.